안녕하세요. 조태해 주셔서 감사합니다. Thank you very much for the opportunity to be here today. It's really a privilege. I'm going to talk about some examples of Concern's innovative work. And I'm going to start by our definition, which looks a little bit wordy, but it's actually quite straightforward. So what does innovation mean for us? For Concern, innovation is essentially about placing a new idea in a particular context. Now, that new idea, it might be a product, it might be a process, it might be a system, it might be a way of working. But the most important thing is that it is transformative in nature. And by transformative, that means that the change can be adapted and the change can ultimately be scaled up to have a significant impact on either eradicating hunger and poverty or on achieving one or more of the Sustainable Development Goals. So the Global Hunger Index, it's been going for 12 years, and it's actually allowed Concern to talk about our innovative work in different editions and on different themes. And in a way, the GHI series in itself is quite innovative because it's pulling together, on the one hand, data, lots of data, 12 years of data on the issue of hunger, together with analysis on various different dimensions of hunger. As Jummo mentioned, every year we have a different theme, and this year the theme is inequality. And then thirdly, we as Concern and our German partner Welthungerhilfe talk about the programming on the ground. So we have case studies together with analysis, together with data, which is quite an innovative series in itself. And today I'm going to talk about 3 different kinds of innovation that we have featured in past Global Hunger Index reports. And in each case, we've worked in collaboration and partnership with research institutions, with Tufts University in the US, with the International Food Policy Research Institute in Washington, DC, and with the Institute for Development Studies based in the UK. And that partnership with research institutions has been really critical for us, because what's essential and what's really important when it comes to innovation is generating evidence. So whatever work we're doing, we want to demonstrate the impact of that work. So partnering with research institutions, a really important part of our innovative work. The first example, a project called RAIN, Realigning Agriculture to Improve Nutrition. It's a project that we operate in Zambia. And the purpose of this project is to address the problem which Professor Cho described so well earlier today, the problem of stunting. 40% of children in Zambia are stunted, which has a huge impact on, obviously, the children themselves, but it also has a huge impact on the economy of Zambia. And the World Bank has done significant calculations right across the globe on the economic impact of stunting. And in the case of Zambia, it really runs to hundreds of millions of dollars per year. So our project on realigning agriculture to improve nutrition is a 5-year project in collaboration with IFPRI, also in collaboration with an Irish food company called the Kerry Group, which is huge commitment to working with us on addressing the issue of hunger. The 1,000 days, that period between conception and a child's second birthday, is the period in which both the mother and the child absolutely must get the right nutrition in order to address the problem of stunting. We've been working with about 4,500 households, so a considerable research project which has yielded very interesting results. So what is the project about? These are some of the different dimensions of it. It's about increasing the agricultural productivity of farmers, and the vast majority of farmers across the developing world are women farmers. It's about training and education on health and nutrition practices to ensure that women understand, and their families understand, what it takes to give the child the best start in life. It's about empowering women, creating a sense that by working both with women and with men, creating a situation where women have more control over the decisions that are made at a household level and have more control over what kind of food ends up on the table. And importantly, it's about broadening the diversity of the food that households have at their disposal. So food diversity is the key to addressing the problem of stunting. From a design point of view, these are the different components of the project. What's really innovative about this, a couple of things. Firstly, all of these interventions are planned in a coordinated way. So when the mother in the province of Mumbwa, who's working with us, receives seeds and tools, she's already had training on agricultural practices. The irrigation is already at their disposal. The HIV and AIDS and gender mainstreaming training is also coordinated. So all of these different interventions, these products and services, are designed in a joined-up kind of way. And this piece here, the sectoral coordination and alignment, is a distinctively innovative thing that actually we tested under the RAIN project, and it's since been replicated in 13 other districts by government officials. And I was in Zambia in September, just gone, and spoke with officials who are rolling out a new national strategy on food and nutrition security. And this model of sectoral cooperation, where the district officials who are responsible for agriculture, for education, for health, all sit together and they make a single plan. And the purpose of that plan is to increase the nutritional welfare of that community. So it really is a huge investment in relationship building, in trust building, in new ways of working at a district level. And that has been a very critical, innovative feature in this program, which has now been scaled up and will be scaled up further. So in terms of the impacts of the program 5 years on, it's increased the agricultural productivity, and there's a lot of nitty-gritty data available, some of it at the back of the room, a lot of it online. It's increased agricultural productivity, it's increased women's empowerment, it's increased food security at the household level, and it's increased the level of coordination across different parts of government at district level. On the issue of stunting, the level of stunting has fallen considerably. But the interesting thing is that the stunting rates fell not just in the area where this project was undertaken, but in other areas as well. And there's been various different hypotheses around why that happened, but that is an area for further research. So yes, there was an impact on stunting, but not just in the RAIN area. The second example of innovation, we moved to a different part of Africa. We moved to Chad, the country of Chad, and an area called Gazbeda in the south, which is just south of the Sahara and close to the Sudanese border. And the project is called Community Resilience to Acute Malnutrition. This area of the world is very prone to climate change. And the changing weather patterns are really playing havoc with the farmers who live there. And farming is really the main livelihood for people in this part of the country. So food and nutrition security, as well as people's health, is intensely seasonal. And if there's any variability in the weather patterns, it immediately affects the food and nutrition security of the people in these areas. And outside of this project, on a regular basis, in any 1 year, if a household is asked, they will report that they have not enough food to eat for 6 months of the year. So on a regular basis, most households don't have enough food for 6 months of the year. So the purpose of this project was to specifically address the food security and nutrition of children, but also to build the resilience of people in these areas to climate change. So ensuring that when these stresses and shocks do come, that people have more assets and more capacity to deal with the shock. In terms of the model, I'm not going to go into this in great detail, but on the left-hand side, you can see that there's a package of interventions, similar to the RAIN project in Zambia, a package of interventions that are provided to the communities. But one of the most innovative things around this project is the emergency, early warning, early action components. So essentially, alongside providing these different inputs, there is trigger systems which are monitoring. There's data being collected around the climate variability. And there's an early warning, early action system which kicks in when it's clear from the data that a crisis is imminent. So therefore, there's preemptive action taken to try to mitigate the impact of the shock, of the stress. So obviously it's November now, and I was speaking to our monitoring and evaluation advisor 2 days ago, and she's returned from the region, and she said it is transformative. So the rains have come, and we're expecting a harvest actually better than normal, if not normal. So this is a good year, but very often we don't have good years. So the purpose of the project is to make sure that when times aren't so good, that people have the resources to cope and to weather the difficult times. Now, the third and final example of innovation is called the graduation project. And the graduation approach was developed by an organization in Bangladesh called BRAC. And Concern actually first implemented graduation in Haiti back in 2008. But this project that spans Burundi and Rwanda is one where we've invested heavily in the research element to generate evidence of the impact of this work. And the purpose of graduation is to assist the ultra-poor in building sustainable livelihoods. So it's a project that provides different capacities, particularly capacity building around training in business skills, also providing assets, concrete assets, so people can start their own businesses. So this one is also where we have, in terms of innovation, the graduation approach hadn't really been tested in an African context. So that was part of the innovation in relation to this. And secondly, graduation in the past has been quite expensive. So we were looking at ways of making this approach more reasonable from a cost point of view. So that was another innovation in relation to the graduation project. Taking Burundi as an example and going back to what is the problem we're trying to solve, these statistics demonstrate how challenging this particular context is. So we have almost 60% stunting. And if you look at the Global Hunger Index this year, Burundi isn't on the index because we don't have enough data to calculate its score. But the last time Burundi was on the index, it was right on the very edge of the ranking. So really serious problem in terms of stunting, also in terms of wasting. 6% of the population wasted in terms of children under 5. And then over 8% of children dying before the age of 5. So that's the problem that we're trying to address through the graduation project. So out of this program, 5 years on, a huge amount of data has been gathered, and it is clear that it has had tremendous impact. These are just a couple of the facts and figures, and I won't go into them, but this bottom right-hand one talks about dietary diversity, and it compares between the beginning of the project and the end, and you can see incredible increases across a whole range of different scenarios. So really the project has had a huge impact across a range of different measures, and I think the video also showed the impact on people's confidence and dignity, which is immeasurable. And as Dominic said earlier, this is about people's rights, and it's about restoring their dignity as well. So there's very clear facts and figures, but there's also the softer side of what these projects are achieving. And maybe to leave the final word to Isabella, who is one of the participants of the graduation project in Burundi, who talked about how much things have changed for her thanks to the program, and the fact she's been able to fulfill her desire to have some livestock. So things that seem quite straightforward to us, but make the world of difference to the people that we're working with. So then in conclusion, and back to what innovation means for concern, it's about identifying how and where we can do things better. It's about investing in generating the evidence of impact. It's about influencing based on that evidence, so bringing the evidence to the table of decision makers who have the potential to create much more powerful and widespread impact. It's about impacting on scale up. And ultimately, it's about delivering on our commitment to leave no one behind. Thank you.